Thank you, Abraham. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about science. Now, I'm very much of a layperson when it comes to science, but there are some really leading-edge pioneers in the science world today who are really bridging science and spirituality and explaining that it's all the same thing. So as someone who's been studying metaphysics all of my adult life, they're doing this merging of the physical world and the spiritual world that has sort of up-leveled everything for me, and it's up-leveled what you teach and everything else. So, for instance, Dr. Bruce Lipton is one of them. And as someone who's been told by the Orthodox medical community that I have a condition that is genetic and that it's going to be progressively degenerative and increasing problems with the walking, and he told me personally in a little chat, throw out everything that they've told you about genes because it's just not true. So I wanted to get your understanding of it because there's such a big battle in this country about embryonic cell research. And from what I understand, we don't need any of that because the cells and the genes already have within them all the power to regenerate and to reprogram.
Now, you started out with a very powerful platform. If we are the creator of our own experience,
Right.
and we have a thought about something that we want, we have the ability to create that no matter what anybody else thinks about
Right.
it. And that's exactly right. But then you said something else that was equally right. You said, but then I read a book that not only said that thing that I already thought I believed, but gave even more compelling evidence about it until I felt even surer about it. And then we say, so see how that book, its existence and its words, helped you to believe just a little bit more something that you wanted.
Yeah.
So then can you see how all kinds of surgeries and pills and medicine and research puts other people who want this thing that they can't figure out how to get in a place of more believing? It doesn't matter how you get there as long as you get to where you want to go. Use any excuse that you need. Use religion as your reason to go with the flow. Use science or medicine as your reason to go with the flow. Use scientific approaches. Use metaphysical approaches. Use spiritual approaches. It does not matter what you use as your in-the-moment reason to turn this way or turn this way. Just don't get out there with so much of the world and battle over which is the right thought to think. Because there are so many thoughts that you could think, and many of them are in the direction of what you want, and many of them aren't. And what's going wrong in the scientific and medical and religious and political communities is that you're still nitpicking over who's the rightest instead of understanding that there are many ways to get to where you want to go. Oh, wouldn't it be an awful thing if my mother, who I love with all my heart, who has been suffering from this and that and this and that and this and that, would go to some religion I don't believe in and get in a place of releasing resistance and get herself healed? Wouldn't it be horrible if she got healed through that path? And we say, oh, what difference does it make? There are so many ways to get to so many places, you see. And so you just have to find what's the best way for you. And you, as you sat down here, we can feel that you are using the way you feel as your very clear indicator of whether participating in this school of thought or the other is of advantage to you. We are speaking some of what you said with your words and some of what we are getting from your vibration, but this is what we heard. I am a spiritual person and I know how to get connected. We heard that very clearly from you. And you said, and I've been deciphering much material for a long period of time, and I'm getting so I can really feel when I'm going with my flow. We could really feel that from you. And you said, and I have a disease that I don't really like or understand, but it's not really a problem for me because I am learning to line up energy. And then you said, and further, I've met someone who's written a book that is so in alignment with what what I've come to know, that just reading the book enhanced my feeling of expectation and belief all the more, and I felt even better. But now I want to ask you, what are they doing with those stem cells? And why do they need to do it? And we say, and why do you care?
Because it's in the kitchen, so I should just let it be in the kitchen.
Everything's in the kitchen. Everything's in the kitchen. And when you stop arguing about what's in the kitchen and what has a right to be in the kitchen and what doesn't have a right to be in the kitchen, and all you do is concentrate upon your vibrational gap, which is the only thing that you need to focus upon for your well-being, then you just bless this one and this one and this one and this one. Oh, you're really going to like this, or maybe not, but we do. There are all kinds of things that exist on your planet today. We're talking about political things, we're talking about religious things, we're talking about scientific things, we're talking about medical things. There are all kinds of things that exist on your planet today that you find abhorrent. But their existence was the launching pad of so much that you find sensational. And without the stuff that today you still call abhorrent, you would be without the stuff that you call sensational. So it's just time for you to stop nitpicking over what was and what has been and what is, and just stand on your platform of unlimitedness and let this resourceful, leading edge, time-space reality thrill you with its ability to yield to you.
Thank you. I guess for me it's, well, you say a lot. It's lonely on the leading edge. And
we say there's never a crowd on the leading edge. We've never said it was lonely.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
There's never a crowd on the leading edge.
Yes.
And the only reason that leading edge where there's no crowd would ever feel lonely to you is that you care what other people think, or that you want to be part of the biggest crowd.
Right.
The feeling of loneliness can only be filled with one thing, and that's connection to Source. And when you're connected to Source, you're never lonely, and you're also not interested in knowing whether there's a crowd or not.
Right.
In other words, it's your connection you're seeking.
I guess the word lonely came out kind of by default because of certain situations. There's a certain amount that I've had to interact with the Orthodox medical community and the
They've learned a lot
insurance
from you.
people. I'm sorry?
They've learned a lot from you.
They've learned a lot from me? Well, I heard you on a recent tape talking to a woman about surgery or not surgery, and giving her the words to teach, in a sense, her doctors.
Surgery or no surgery, it doesn't make any difference.
Right.
In other words, the path of least resistance might be surgery for one and not surgery for another. So
Right.
the action is irrelevant.
Right.
It's how you feel in the action.
Right. Well, so I've taken that and in my interactions with doctors, I've attempted to kind of be my metaphysical self a bit more than I might have been brave enough to do, and let them know. And it doesn't always go over so well.
Well, if you're defensive, in other words, if you come to a doctor in an attitude of, I need your help, but I don't trust it, it sort of sets them off in the wrong way. But if you come to them in an attitude of, I need your help, I would like your help, and together we might be able to figure something really important out. And I would like to take the knowledge that you hold and combine it with who I am and what I know, and see what kind of a co-creation we can get going here. And I know that we have these things in common, doctor of mine. I know that you, like me, are rooting for my recovery.
Right.
And so we have that very powerful common desire.
Right.
And I want to know what you know on my quest for that. And no one would feel resistant under those conditions. They would say, well, let me tell you what I know. And then you say, oh, that's very interesting. I'm happy to know what you know. And this interaction has helped me to contribute more to what I am wanting. And then in the privacy of your own mind, you just line up with it, you see. We want to give doctors a break in this sense, in every sense, but especially in this sense. The majority of people who go to doctors go to ask the doctor to look at something that's bothering them and give it a label, or to look to see if there's anything that is potentially bothering later. In other words, it is really rare that anyone walks into a doctor's office and says, I'm feeling so good and I want you to tell me why. almost no one ever asks that question. And so they are almost completely oriented toward looking for something that is wrong. And you've got to understand that's wearing on them. And so because they're looking for something that is wrong, they're finding something that is wrong. And as a body of humanity, they are the most pessimistic people on the planet because they've activated within them, by virtue of what you've asked them to look for, everything that could possibly go wrong. So much so that now they are surmising what could go wrong later. Have you heard them? We're not sure, but we think that we can look into your genes and we can tell you what you're probably going to get 20 years from now or 30 years from now. And we say, that's not what we meant when we were saying look down the road.
And that's what I find scary about all the prevalent views that people like Dr. Lipton are saying it just ain't so. It just isn't the
Well,
fact.
so you have a very simple choice. You just have to ask yourself, these views scare me, and this view gives me ease. And so we say, well, then which one do you want to focus on? And you say, well, Abraham, it's such a simplistic question. I want to focus on the one that gives me greater ease. And then we say, in our smart aleck non-physicalness, then why don't you do that? And you say, because I'm using other criteria other than how it feels as my determination of what I give my attention to. And they've got credentials. They have credentials and they've got facts and there's a big vibrational hubbub about it, and so it's just compelling. I just give my attention to that because it's louder. And we say, you got to start using a different criteria as what you use in your powerful now to make your decision to turn to. You've got to make a new decision. And we would encourage the new decision to be, how does it feel? Better stated, what does my inner being think about it? Better stated, what thought could I think that would bring me in vibrational alignment with my inner being? Better stated, what thought could I think right now that would cause me to go with the flow instead of against the flow? Better stated, what thought could I think right now that would cause me to be a vibrational match to all of the wonderful things that are waiting for me in vibrational escrow? I think I'll go this way. Good time for a segment of refreshment.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.